Toby, go to bed.
The topic is Russia and Ukraine. What do I say? I don't know. Okay. This is... It's the dogs hawking up a lung over here.
What do I say?
Yeah, that's kind of my general opinion. That well stated, Toby. End of video. Okay. This has multiple layers of pieces to look at. One, what is Russia doing with Ukraine? I'm not going into the history of all of this. Honestly, I don't care that much. I honestly don't care about Ukraine that much. I do have a general problem with countries deciding they can just, anytime they want, go over and whack the democratic neighbor of their picking and crush them and take them. We pretty much decided in the world that's not how we do things. The question is, why is Russia doing it? And I think there's two possible reasons. One could be they have this argument that they have this long-term standing and it's part of Russia and all of that. I don't know what it is with the Eastern Bloc countries right now. China does the same thing. That's part of us, so we can just take it anytime we want to. What makes it part of you? We said so. Or at some time we put a line around it. Or they have all these funky reasons as to why they decide they own something or have the right to it. But I've been questioning very much from the actions. Again, and I'll say straight out, I have not dug deep into the history of Ukraine as in relationship to Russia. To me, that doesn't matter so much as the actions of what goes on tells me. I'm going to go off of the actions. What does the actions tell me? And what the actions tell me right now is that there's a reasonable chance Russia wants something other than Ukraine. The amount of buildup Russia has decided that they've needed, it is strategically weird. It's strategically odd for a giant, powerful country to go, we're going to come over here and stand on the border and get everybody here. We're going to kick your ass. You just wait. Okay, let's get it. Come on, let's get some more. Yeah, let's get some more. Come on. We're about, just wait, we're coming. I don't understand that strategy at all. It's unnecessary. I don't know why they didn't just flood in. And matter of fact, surprise is huge in warfare. Just flooding over and going right across the border and hitting them would have been strategically the easiest way to do it. Every day of preparation they have given to Ukraine, as well as opportunity for outsiders, including us, to arm them, has made the job harder. Certainly not impossible. I think if Russia wants to take them, they're going to take them. But they've definitely, if they wanted to up the casualty count for Russia in the process of taking them, they could have done nothing better than move up to the border and then sit there for a long time telling them what they were going to do. So why would you do that? To me, I think there's two main reasons you would do it. Number one, it would be, watch football play. The football play where the guys run out and act like they're going to go for it on fourth down when they're never going to go for it on fourth down. Why are they acting like they're going to go for it on fourth down? Huh?
Make you flinch.
To make you flinch. To try to get your reaction. To make you to see if they can get you to do something. The interesting was, I don't think that if that's what they're doing, they don't care what Ukraine's reaction is going to be. They care what the rest of the world's reaction is going to be. And so they run up and go and see, what are we going to do? That's that's definitely one of the possibilities. The other possibility is you you got the little kid there and you go, I'm going to punch him if you don't give me. And that one actually worries me more. That one worries me, I guess both worry me. The first one worries me because I don't think we're reacting very good. I think our reactions have done everything but say, do what the hell you want to do. We're not going to stop them. We got our military involved, and we sent a couple of thousand guys to go stand in other countries. We didn't send them to Ukraine to stand on that border. Do you know how much more powerful it would have been to send 10 guys to actually stand on the Ukraine border and say, touch those guys and we'll kill you? Okay, that would have said something. Sending a few thousand guys with not enough equipment to do diddly squat and to countries around there. All that says is, you better only be looking at Ukraine. What? Don't come stomping into a NATO country? Well, they can read the agreements we have that say what happens if he touches one of the NATO countries. So going and saying don't touch a NATO country because we sent a few thousand troops there doesn't say anything. It literally says nothing. So that makes no sense. So it just says we don't care what you do, and that we've done nothing to stop him. Nothing whatsoever, which the question is that invites all sorts of other bad people to do bad things. Throughout history, it has shown that this is the sort of inaction that causes Iran to do crap, causes North Korea to do crap, things like that, because it says we're passive, we don't care, we're not going to do anything. And so that one worries me because not so much, I want to think Russia is smart enough to not want a full-out war with us, because it would be very difficult for that to happen without nuclear weapons be involved, and that's bad for everybody. And so, instead, I think they're poking around, that if they're doing that, they're poking around to see what they can do. And one of the worst things that can happen is the crazies who don't really have good thoughts at all, like North Korea, could use it as an excuse to go into South Korea, or, these sorts of things. That's the sort of thinking that happens out there. The other one of the give me, that one worries me a lot, because the question is one of the worst case scenarios could be is Russia backs off and goes away, and we never find out what the hell we gave them. Because right now, I think there's a reasonable chance Russia is holding out for something, and that I don't trust our leadership not to give them whatever the hell it is they want. Whether it's some change in strategic arms agreements, or some free hand to do something someplace else, and we have done the wimpiest crap. When the President of the United States comes out with a statement that says you can't cyber attack these certain industries or we'll kick your ass, how can they not see you just said you can attack all the other industries and it's okay? That is the weakest crap in the world. And bullies listen to that stuff. They said that was permission to hit everything else. That's what it was. That is terrible. That was horrendous. Same sorts of things. What are they asking for? And I don't know. The only way we've played that good is we've basically said, go ahead, hit the kid. We don't care. Which maybe we're not going to give him anything, because maybe we've decided we just don't care about Ukraine that much. And this is a theme tonight. I'm of mixed minds. I have always believed that there's some responsibility. Let's take World War II. There was an international responsibility to stop the Germans from killing all of the Jews who could not defend themselves. The example I've always used is being an adult on an elementary school playground. You see the great big fifth grader pounding a tiny kindergartner. You have a moral responsibility to do something about it. It is not a fair fight. You have an obligation. And there are times in the world where I think we hold an obligation. On the other hand, we can't do it everywhere, and we're horribly inconsistent about when we do it. We basically said, all the murder in Africa you want, it doesn't matter, we won't stand up for you. Full-on genocide in Africa. If America has said if the victims are black, we won't do anything about it. It is a racist policy. It's not racist, it's an economic policy. It's what we've said is Africa offers us no value, so we won't do anything about it. And strategic partnerships in Europe we do value, and strategic partners in the Middle East we value, and that's just as bad. And if you want to call it racist, it's fair to call it racist. It's because the problem is I don't think that's what it is. I think it's economic value, but it's just as evil. It's just as horrendous. Said you don't offer us enough money so they can come in and rape all of your little girls, and it's just horrendous. And so if we're not going to be a country that does that, if we're not going to stand up for good, then we're not going to, and say, sorry, Ukraine, you should build better alliances, and you're not, if you want to defend yourself against Russia, good luck. I don't know. I'm at really two minds of that. On the other hand, do I want to sign up and go fight a war against Russia to protect Ukraine? I will say this. In defense of doing that, I think the Ukrainians are about to go batshit crazy on the Russians if they come in. I suspect, this is just my 2 cents, I suspect they fight. They fight like crazy. And we've seen that in many of the wars of the Eastern European areas, that the locals will defend their own countries. Unlike much of the Middle East, much like we've had a whole lot of areas where we're defending people who are unwilling. We just spent a whole long time in Afghanistan and Iraq in places where the locals mostly would not defend themselves. I think there's more morality to defending somebody who clearly doesn't want to be taken over and is willing to die to defend it. That's the little kid. The little kid doesn't want to get beat up, and he'll fight all he's got. That's why he come to his defense. It's harder to come to the defense of the guy going, come on, or the guy, like I say, it's when all of the fighting age adult males of your country run away and leave it behind. If they're not worth fighting, they don't think it's worth fighting for. Why should we? So all of these different things. What's going to happen? I don't know. I think it's looking very much like Russia's going to walk in there. I think Russia's going to walk in there. I think there'll be at least some time period of really, really bloody fighting. Because I just have a sense that the Ukrainians will defend themselves, whether it's pitchforks and and pistols and against tanks, they'll do it, just like we would if you came into our country. I think most of America would fight off Russia with nothing. We would not give in to the Russians coming into America. The Russians try coming across Canada into the heart of America, and the army decided to stand back. Do you think we give up the country? I don't think so. If you want to look at the comparisons, go back to World War II and look at Italy. Italy was taken over by the fascists, and they never stopped fighting. The people, thousands of them, went to the woods and hid out and killed the enemy through the entire war. France had many people who fought every day of the war. Their country gave in, and the people didn't. They kept fighting and kept fighting and kept fighting. They blew up bridges, and they killed them with their bare hands. They killed Germans with their bare hands to keep fighting because they weren't going to give in. I suspect that's much more the Ukrainians. But I just also won't be surprised if all of a sudden some agreement gets reached and this all goes away. And the question is it's an interesting one. I keep saying that, but one of these last pieces. Germany finally sent somebody to talk to us, because Germany's been the real chicken shits in this whole thing. The Germans have not come to the defense. The Germans were quick to say, no, we don't want Ukraine as part of NATO. That's them being chickens and saying we don't want to piss off the Russians. So all of a sudden we're worried about pissing off the Russians when NATO existed to piss off the Russians. That's what we existed to do. That a country of the value of Ukraine on the border of Russia, we said, no, they can't join. Wait a second, that's a perfect place to park missiles to defend against Russia. And Germany's really hard to trust Germany. They haven't been the most trustworthy of folks over the last 150 years. But Germany came to visit us. The question was, Germany getting talked into being on our side? Or is Germany here doing Russia's bidding and saying, let's give them this and they'll go away? We talked to Russia and Russia just said, if you just give us this, they'll go away. And we can make this go away. And they're like, it's okay, America. You can act like you didn't give them nothing. We'll slip them stuff through the back door. I'm worried about that happening. That just because we gave them something to go away doesn't mean it came directly from America or for anybody who's standing up to them. It can get slid through the back door someplace else of some giant thing that we learn about later. And so, yeah, I think it's a mess. No, I don't want to see America in a war against Russia. I'm not that worried about Russia. As a U.S. veteran, in a conventional war, we can handle Russia. We can. Can we handle China? Can we handle China and Russia together? Now it's getting ugly. Okay? But nobody wants that fight, and I don't want us to have that fight over Ukraine. I do want us to sort out what's going on, and I do absolutely think virtually every public play, never know what's going on behind the scenes, but every public play we've seen so far, I believe was the wrong one. It's the wussy, wimpy, submissive play that you get through this one and we end up having shit happen where I just won't be surprised if we find out a year down the road, the Iranians accidentally shoot a U.S. airliner out of the sky. Or, see, that's the sort of garbage that happens. Is we give them permission and say, we won't do something. And that's my concern. Is, are we acting weak and convincing the nuts to go and do something even more stupid?